okay. And you even look at some of those runs that we made. 2013 is a great example. Fourth best defense in the league, and we did pretty okay for ourselves there. But the biggest key, and you can look statistically over the last few years, especially under the Sean Payton years, is that if the Saints defense can hold the opposing team to 20 points or less, the Saints have won somewhere around like 85% of the games. We just need the defense to be okay, and Drew will lead us the rest of the way.
Yeah, we need the defense to be okay, but we also need the defense to be opportunistic as well, because the defense needs to really set the tone to help get some of these turnovers from our opponents. And Sean Payton addressed that today, Professor, that just there's been either a problem with the technique of the defenders, or there may be a problem with the system. Do you think under Dennis Allen, he can be able to bring a more consistent system or a more consistent approach to help the Saints become more opportunistic when it comes to creating turnovers, especially at the beginning of the season?
Well, if you can count to 11, that's a start.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said if he can count to 11, that's a start. I mean, look, you know,
Okay.
and I had made something about this earlier on Twitter. I had mentioned, I said, you know, it's good finding Dandy that they're going to put this emphasis on turnovers and such. We've heard that before. Come on, guys, let's be real. We've heard that. I want them to see the emphasis on tackling, because I think that's one of the things that's going to go by the wayside. That they're going to suddenly start being a team that's going to try to strip the ball every time, and a running back's going to get 5, 6, 7 yards when he should only got 1 or 2. That's what I'm more concerned about, you know, because we saw so many over the past couple of years. It's just, I mean, I can't say it any other word than it's piss poor. That's how it's been. I mean, Barry and you, all of us on this phone call could put forth better of a tackle effort than what some of the stuff we saw. So that's what I feel like to see. I mean, the turnovers are going to help. You know, the fact that their interceptions just weren't there. I mean, it's, you know, very disturbing when you don't see it, because it is a game changer. You look at the Panthers, the defense, the Broncos, they get turnovers at the right time. And that's how 2009 went a lot of times. They got them at the right time. The defense gave Drew Brees a short field. And guys, y'all know more than anybody that when Drew Brees has a short field to work with, he'll tear an opposing defense up.
Okay, good stuff. All right, guys, let's talk about the special teams right quick. Do you think the Saints are still in this wonderment of what's going to happen with our kicking game?
Yeah, I think so, because it's going to be critical for the Saints to improve, especially in kick returns. They have really been behind schedule in kick returns, and they've got to find a way to make a drive 6 yards shorter. If the defense and the kicking game can each gain 6 yards, then that automatically means that the Saints offense needs fewer plays to score. And guess what gets better immediately? Red zone offense, because you have fewer plays in which to score. But the kick return game in particular has got to show dramatic improvement. Has not made much of an impact the last couple of years. That's got to be a big point of emphasis, because just a 6 yard gain, an additional 6 yards, means that's one fewer play that the offense needs. That's one more play that they have to get the ball in the end zone instead of bogging down and having to try field goals.
And I agree with Dad, because you done there. And then I'm very concerned with this field goal kicker situation, with this erratic field goal kicking that we have had. And the Saints, truthfully, are losing games in that area also. It's not just the defense. I just want to tell people that you have to go and re-look at them games, because they're losing the special teams. They're losing that almost every week. in that area in terms of kickoff returns, punt returns. And I know he got mad with Marcus Murphy, because of a couple of fumbles, but Marcus Murphy was adding a spark. You just need to work on him handling the ball. But then you got another issue where you just really, for the Saints are going to have to focus in all areas. The defense is one thing, special teams, and even the offense. You look at some of these games, the Drew Brees interceptions and these turnovers that put the defense back on the field. So it's all three areas, especially when you look at that Tennessee Titan game, those two Carolina games that they could have won, and that Tampa Bay game, that first Tampa Bay game in the Superdome where they had about 5 turnovers. The defense, I said this last year, in the first 4 games, Arizona game, the Carolina game, the Tampa Bay game, and the Dallas game, they played middle of the pack enough for the Saints to have been 4-0. Remember the Arizona game, the Saints were in that game until when the Saints got the ball with 2 minutes and they were back into the end zone, and on 4th down, Sean Payton punted the ball back to Arizona, and that's how they got 31. They were in the game against Tampa Bay, and the Saints had a Mark Ingram fumble, a Drew Brees interception, turned the ball over numerous times. And in the Carolina game, they were up 10-0, and then Luke McCowan went against what Coach Payton told him to do and tried to throw the ball to Brandon Cooks, and Josh Norman intercepted. You had a team that could have been potentially 4-0. So the first 4 games, the defense was not atrocious. It was not until that Philadelphia game that they just went into their tailspin, up and down throughout the rest of the season. But there was some erratic play by the offense, also. So I'm just hoping that, as I stated from the beginning, that with all the churn and the changing of players every year, that at some point, if this year does not turn well, you're going to have to look in the mirror at Coach Payton and his ability to put a staff together now that can get the job done, and his ability to lead the team to get it better than mediocre 7-9. Because 3 out of 4 years, as Coach Dad alluded to, 7-9, and then since the 5-0 start and the win in Philadelphia, we have not had much to talk about since the Detroit game the week before the San Francisco game in the playoffs after the 11th season. It just has not been a lot to say about the team. And at this point, because I'm a corporate person and run businesses and stuff, when there's problems or things, the staff and the people look at me. They're like, "You're the leader. What are we going to do?" And as the leader, I have to examine. Maybe I'm not effectively leading, or something we're doing wrong to re-examine. I just hope, because I really, am appreciative of Coach Payton. But when you did not change out I don't want to say their names, but the defensive line coach,
Bill Johnson,
and an assistant coach, Mr. Vitt, you didn't change them out. You kept that same special teams coach. That is very alarming and concerning to me, since I've worked for Fortune 500 companies most of my life, and I know if we did not perform as leaders and executives, as managers, we were gone the next year. I mean, we've been rotating defensive ends, opposite Cam Jordan. We've been rotating linebackers. We've been rotating cornerbacks. We've been rotating players in and out on this defense for the last since 12 defensive coordinators, and we're blaming them all on them. I think the tale, one of the biggest tales, or the telling of the Saints debacle in management, was when Rob Ryan stated that he did not want to get rid of Malcolm Jenkins, who is now an All-Pro, one of the top safeties in the league, for Jairus Byrd. And the telling tale is that maybe Coach Payton has too much control in the final decisions for this team, and he will not acquiesce to listen to his subordinates. It's we, not I. When I teach that to my team, it's we. We're a team. I may be the CEO and I may be the owner, but we are a team in this accounting firm. We are a team in this alternative fund business. We are a team at Saints News. We all are a team. Barry, John, Dad, Brenda, Sharita, Remy, we're a team. All of us, Kyle, we are one team. We're one family.
Okay.
If one hurts, we all hurt. When Barry lost his dad, I was praying every day for Barry. I felt his pain. I didn't know what that was like because my father's still alive. If Coach going through something, I feel his pain. I don't have to talk to them every day. I feel, and it's just me, please, once again, listeners, do not write me because I do not care and I'm not going to read it. I feel that the Saints and Coach Payton, there is a control problem there. When you cannot allow your subordinates to make recommendations or what have you on decisions, we vilified Coach Rob Ryan. We vilified Steve Spagnuolo. You know, we keep vilifying, Greg Williams and Gibbs, all of these defensive coordinators. You know, maybe these guys were not allowed to bring in their coaching staff. Maybe these guys were not allowed to make certain decisions. Coach Payton has got to acquiesce and give up some of the control power and learn to say, look, how do we collectively together, what is the best optimal way to play these players, the best optimal players, and stop having pride. I'm going to make it work. And the best player may not be Jairus Byrd. It may be Vaughn Bell.
Right.
Or Devontae Harris or whoever else. The best player may not be whoever, and you're trying to make it work because you don't want it to the media, anybody say, I made a bad decision. We've all made bad decisions in life.
Okay. Yeah, you're right, Professor. We have made some bad decisions, and turning over the mic is a bad decision. But okay, you didn't get that one, right?
No, we got it.
Okay, guys. Look, we got to make it a little bit lighter here. Everybody's so serious. The Saints are going into the 2016 season. This is the opening of training camp, and we shall see who will rise to the top. Which one of these young men at wide receiver, John? Let me ask you this. How do you see the Saints receiving core finally coming out of the 2016 camp? Which 5 or 4 guys will be on the roster?
Well, let's look at history for a little bit. The Saints typically have only kept 4 wide receivers in the active roster, so already you got to understand that there may only be 4 when it's time. Maybe 5 if the argument, can be made if somebody can distance themselves. The top 3 in the running should be not a shocker to people. It's Brandon Cooks, Willie Snead, and the rookie Michael Thomas. Thomas, I think, is just done so much growing up so fast, and the guy hasn't really even got on the field much to really show what he can do. He's on the same page with Drew Brees, and that's the thing with it. Doesn't really matter who's at wide receivers for the Saints because, I even talked about this on Eric Asher's show the other day that he took a guy like David Patton, who was on the last leg of his career, and made him into something special. Even though he was an aging veteran and such, that's just what Drew Brees has. So there's some receivers that he's going to end up having some chemistry with. I don't think you can automatically dismiss Brandon Coleman. I think he'd probably be that 4th wide receiver right now, but he's got people nipping on his heels. Mainly it's R.J. Harris. You can't rule out Hakeem Nicks. I know he's more of a camp body at this point, but again, he had a good chemistry with Eli Manning, not so good with Andy Luck. Maybe there's some injury concerns that we don't know about. You got to keep an eye on him. You got other guys like Kyle Prater, who's been around on the practice squad, somebody that you really still need to take a close watch on. And then you got all the rookies, the undrafted rookies. My favorite, because you got Lampman out of Fair State. You've got, Willie Snead's teammate at Ball State, Lambert Williams. My favorite to look forward to is Jared Dangerfield out of Western Kentucky. The little-known Hilltoppers wide receiver put together a solid campaign through his college years. Very underrated, very somebody that you just overlook. He'd be somebody that I keep an eye on as a dark horse. I think Harris has to still put together a lot of stuff. And here's the biggest thing we got to take away from this gentleman. Doesn't matter how good you look at camp, you might not make the final roster. And if you need any proof of that, just ask Andy Tanner. He was brought back I don't know how many times, but always looked good in camp. But he never had that it factor, that something that warranted him making the final roster.
Right. Making the final roster and always in the Saints camp, you always have that